how do you write content to not just rank on Google, but to sustain your rankings on the SERPs? At TripleDart, we don't simply write content to rank quickly in a few days. We write to rank content to sustain in the SERPs for a longer period of time. See, there's a lot of advice on how to ace the SERPs. On-page optimization, internal linking, schema updates, the list goes on. But what should you do to remain in Google SERPs amid the constantly changing Google SERP landscape? This video is about how we've managed to sustain our position in the SERPs for a little more than 2 years, despite competitors updating their content, Google changing its algorithm, and the like. Steve, we have all heard stuff like write for user intent. But when most people talk about user intent, they reduce it into just these 4 buckets: informational, categorical, navigational, and transactional. Search intent is much deeper than that. It's really about micro moments. Micro moments are nothing but the small decision-making moments that trigger the reader to perform a search on Google for that particular pain point. Understanding these micro moments is far more important than simply writing content for a generic topic category. Let me give you an example of how this works in practice. When we looked at this keyword called general rate increase for a client, we noticed a particular pattern. We saw that all the pages ranking on the top were very thin. They really didn't address the core micro moments that would have led the reader to search for this particular keyword. They didn't address objections. They didn't answer the questions the reader will have when someone asks for GRIs and the related problems around it. Instead of relying only on the SERP analysis, we relied on something called empathy maps. Using empathy maps, we created an outline that focused on why GRA matters for freight forwarders. How should our ICPs negotiate prices when there's a surge in GRI? What are the differences between peak season charges and GRI? What factors influence GRI? We built content that directly addressed the micro moments the reader would have faced when they search for this particular keyword. See, the concept of empathy map comes from UX design. They are used to understand a user's intent and map their experiences across 4 different quadrants: what the user feels, what the user sees, what the user knows, and what the user does. We then converted each of these insights into actionable advice and questions that the reader can understand from the content. These questions became the foundation of our content outline. While at a high level, these are simply user experiences that you should obviously know about your reader, Google sees highly rich semantic entities and something that your competitors haven't answered it. Now the client not only ranks for the target keyword in the top 10, but they have sustained their rankings for the last 2 years. This is the only way to sustainably rank on Google, to create content around these micro moments so that your content addresses the real pain points and is able to sustain the constant fluctuations with the algorithms. If you want the exact AI prompt that's used to generate these empathy maps, please comment prompt below.